Howdy friends, welcome back to the channel. In today's video, I wanted to talk to you about some of the things that I've been doing this autumn and will be doing into the winter to help me through these darker months. For those of you who are new to my channel, hello and welcome. My name's Corinne. I'm a herbalist, but I love talking about all things natural health, self-sufficiency, and empowering people just to be, the very best that they can be. I am from an area in Ontario called Kawartha Lakes. And one of the reasons I wanted to do this video is because this autumn, we can't quite say tomorrow is winter solstice, so we can't say winter yet. This autumn has been one of the darkest and grayest that I have in recent memory. And it has been, from that perspective, kind of difficult emotionally. Now, of course, the world is a heavy place as well. You start weaving in rising costs, you start weaving in, what's going on in the geopolitical spheres in the world. And this is a tough time for a lot of people, especially as we approach Christmas and the winter holiday season. There's it's not always fa la la for a lot of people. Let me know in the comments. But this is a tough time financially, sometimes emotionally, relationships can be strained. Some people are lonely. And so this is just a difficult time. And it really got me thinking, what are some of the tools that I have invested in, some of the habits and daily behavioral patterns that I have adopted over the years that really help me through these difficult periods, and can I share them with you? And of course I can. So first and foremost, as always, if you didn't have a chance to read it, medical disclaimer. Nothing I am sharing with you today is meant to be interpreted as a cure or a diagnosis or a treatment for any condition you may or may not be moving through. So please work with your healthcare practitioner of choice. This is the stuff that's worked for me, and I can share it. And when I share it, I have found anecdotally that it often works for other people as well. So in the winter months, first, it's probably really smart that we talk a little bit about the fact that we're mammals. And as much as we want to pretend like we're not, there are certain things that we require during these months that when we meet those basic standards, our quality of life goes up. And what you're going to start to notice is all of the things that I'm going to talk about today all help in the same areas of life. They are going to improve mood. They're going to help with hormonal patterns and therefore improve things like sleep, cognitive function, focus. It could alleviate some symptoms of depression or sadness or melancholy that you might be moving through. And so, you're going to start to see a lot of trends in that department. So instead of me talking about all of the individual benefits of these tools and things that I've adopted over the years, why don't we just say that they help with a lot of all of what I just mentioned, right? And when we're sleeping better, we tend to feel better. Mammals require more sleep in the winter. It's just part of how life works, right? And we also require different food sources in the winter. So I'm going to talk about a lot of those different things. And, even if you're only able to adapt one or two of some of these tricks, and like I said, tools that I have invested in, I imagine it's going to make your life easier. So one of the first things that I want to talk about is full spectrum light therapy. And so UV free, but a full spectrum light that is designed for helping with things like seasonal affective disorder, winter blues, that sort of thing. Wow. What a game changer for me. So this was something that I adopted years ago. And then through a lot of, focusing on my health, and my wellness and changing my diet and exercising more, I find I didn't need it as much, except this autumn. I kind of joked on my social media platforms. It's like I'm living in a Tim Burton movie and the Sleepy Hollow just will not end. And, sometimes we'll see like the sun flicker through the clouds and we'll run outside and be like, oh yay, okay, sun. But it was something that kind of started to creep in for me. That sadness, that melancholy, that difficulty in focusing, my mood was being affected. And I was like, you know what? I'm going to break out what I call my sad lamp. It's really a light therapy lamp you do want to go full spectrum, I'm going to have links in the comments below for the products. If there are any products that I'm recommending, some of them may be affiliates, so full disclosure on that. Doesn't cost you anymore. But I have been using this particular UV light, or sorry, not UV, full spectrum light therapy light. So it's just a little box, as you saw in the clip that I overlaid here. I usually do it in the mornings when I'm checking my email. 10-15 minutes a day is more than enough. You don't want to use this before bed or in late afternoon, friends, because it may disrupt your sleep patterns. But what I noticed is when I started using it, it took about a week before that kind of brain fog, low energy, kind of depressive mood started to lift. And I thought, like, how cool is that? So I wanted to mention it. Of course, you do more of your own research and dive into whether full spectrum light therapy is something that would benefit you. What I like about this is when compared to red light therapy, which I will also be talking about because I also use that, it is way more accessible in terms of cost. You're going to be able to get yourself a decent little full spectrum light therapy device for under $100, no problem. Another thing that has been incredibly helpful for me over the years, and it's something that I get a lot of pushback with clients. I don't have time, or whatever. You make the time, right? Exercise. Exercise. And of course, again, this can look like a lot of different things. As I am getting older, I'm focusing less on cardiovascular because my family does a lot of walking and hiking. And if we actually have snow that sticks, we'll do snowshoeing and tobogganing. And, we get our exercise that way. We heat with wood. If anybody knows anything about firewood, what do they say? It heats you twice, sometimes 3 times, right? When you're hulling it, chopping it, and then when you use it in your home. So, there's no shortage of physical activity here, but what I'm focusing on is strength training, because as I age, I'm noticing that is waning. So, things like push-ups, resistance training, all of that. And of course, you're getting all of those beautiful benefits that exercise provides, which is endorphins. So that has a really great cascade effect in terms of how the hormones function in the body. So you're going to start noticing improvement in mood. You're going to start noticing, of course, probably for a lot of us, a trimmer waistline, improved sleep, better digestion because of where all of our muscle tissue is in relation to our digestive tract. So there's lots of really great benefits for exercise. And this is one that doesn't have to cost you a lot of money. I downloaded an app. I hate the commercials, but I think it's just called Pilates. And it's, you can set up like a workout routine based on your current level of activity, your body weight, your goals. And it's 10-15 minutes a day. And then I am doing stretching every night as well before bed. Has made a huge difference in terms of my ability to sleep. And so, you start to weave these things in. And again, the Pilates app cost me $0. And almost every single one of the stretches and exercises that it helps me move through, you don't need any weights. You don't need resistance bands. You just need your own body weight, right? To do things like push-ups or squats. Everybody can do that. It doesn't have to cost you a lot of money. So, going out for a walk, all of that. Sure, gym memberships can be cost prohibitive. They could be time prohibitive for you. For me, like the closest gym is 25 minutes away. So, I really don't want you to discount this one. Quick addition to the exercise part, if you can combine that with time outside. I don't even have to post studies because there are just so many of them now that talk about the massive benefits of spending time outdoors. Fresh air, reduction, helps with reduction in blood pressure. You're going to notice, again, enhancement in mood, better sleep patterns, improved respiratory health. Like there's so many benefits to spending time, especially if you can spend time in nature. Winter hiking, friends, winter hiking is our favorite type of hiking. 1, no bugs, and 2, less people. And not that I don't love my fellow humans. Sometimes you don't want to be walking in a line of them, right? And wintertime, it's usually quiet and peaceful and it's just magical. And I'm not swatting away mosquitoes. And so if you can combine those, your exercise with your time outside, I'm a big fan of multitasking in that way, right? And so time outdoors, especially in nature, forest bathing, all of that. They've got tons of studies that talk about improvements to cognitive health, blood pressure, mood, you name it, you should do it. So I talked about that full spectrum light therapy earlier. The benefits for that are really for that increase in serotonin production and helping with sleep. It's very specific to mood. So now I want to talk about red light therapy, which can also help. They've done tons of studies to show how it will also help with things like depression and anxiety. And I'm probably going to do a whole other video on red light therapy at another point. But it has way more benefits than just that in terms of injury recovery, reduction in inflammation, improvement in skin health, helping with hair growth. What else? Pain. So I actually do targeted red light therapy on a few different areas. In the morning, I will do my face, and I have noticed a massive difference in the texture of my skin and my hair. My hair is actually thicker. And as someone who's never had really thick hair, it's actually pretty cool. And then I'll actually do targeted on my low back, which is that kind of sciatic region where I have issues. So does that help me through the winter in terms of, depressive or melancholy or sadness type feelings? I would say I definitely want my full spectrum light as well, but I would be remiss not to mention this too, just in passing. So what you're seeing in this clip here is actually me. I'm going to put all the toys, right? If you've got some extra financial wiggle room and you want to invest in some really neat tools and toys, check out the links below. I also every day use a vibration plate. And I do that for about 10 minutes, and that's for lymphatic health. It helps with detoxification. It helps moving lymph fluid. Most of our white blood cells are in our lymph. So also think about immune function that way. So every day I kind of multitask, and I'll do my red light therapy while I'm on my vibration plate. So that's what you're seeing in that clip there. And so, like I said, I'll put those links below. Do your own research. I don't want this to be like a 2-hour video going into all of the therapeutic benefits of all of these toys that I have accumulated over the years. Some of them are expensive and you may have to invest in or save up for, but there's nothing wrong with that, right? I think in an instant gratification world, we're a little bit, I don't know. Do you guys remember when there was something you wanted as a teenager and you went to work every day and you worked hard and you saved your paychecks until you could afford to buy the thing? There's important and valuable lessons in that particular behavior pattern, which I don't know if we get as much anymore. There's positive reinforcement for saving, for working hard. And so like my red light, I saved up for almost 2 years. And I love it now that I have it, right? So some of these things you may have to save up for, bookmark this video, come back to it later if you want those links. But I just want to share all the things that I do to kind of help my well-being and overall health during these colder, darker months. However, I do use the vibration plate and the red light every day. I did it all summer too. All right, I'm going to kind of lump this last one because again, I'm cognizant of your time and I don't want to, waste too much of it. So I'll keep it as condensed as possible. So I'm going to kind of lump all of these into more emotional or spiritual well-being. And that would be hobbies, meditation, and journaling. I don't know if you can hear my cat. He's on the wood pile out front and he wants back in the garage, but I have body butter out there right now that's hardening because it's as cold as a fridge in my garage. I'm like, sorry, kitty, you can't come in just yet. He can see me though. That's why he's meowing. I digress. These are all of the kind of spiritual, mental, and emotional well-being tools that I would not be without. Meditation. Now, I used to think that, you had to bend yourself into these weird pretzel shapes and completely clear your mind of all thoughts. And yeah, that's kind of hard for someone like me who's really creative, who is a little bit of a type A personality, whose brain is always going. I finally figured out that that's kind of baloney and we don't have to do that. No pretzel shapes required. Comfort is great. And now they have so many really cool apps where you could do guided meditations. The whole idea is to focus on your breath, to slow down your body, your mind, your heart rate. All of these things, you're breathing in and out, have massive cognitive and physical effects on the body. So one of my favorite apps, not affiliated with these guys, I really loved Calm when I did have it, but I also really like Insight Timer. Insight Timer's free. And there's so many beautiful humans all over the world that are contributing to Insight Timer and adding in their meditations. And so if what you want is something to help you fall asleep, something because you want to connect with your spirit guides, or you want to tap into the energy of, your chakras, whatever your thing is, they've got a meditation on it. You want to do a meditation that's got babbling brook sounds where you can connect with your spirit animal crow, I bet you'll be able to find one. So I really like Insight Timer for that. You may also like Calm. There's probably a few others. If you have any you like, mention them in the comments. Along with this, journaling's been a huge therapeutic tool for me over the years. I often joke with my husband that when I am no longer on this earthly plane, please burn my journals and don't read them, because they're often a place where, I'm able to kind of move through more difficult emotions and that kind of thing. And no, I'm not talking about a diary where you're like, today I woke up at this time and this is what I ate for breakfast. You can do that too, especially if it helps to kind of slow you down. But journaling can be a really great therapeutic tool, especially combined with meditation. So if you have any thoughts, beliefs, emotions that come up during your meditative practice, you could then journal and write them down. And last but not least, I want to mention hobbies. It's really important for us to have hobbies. And with life being so busy, with so many of us, ferrying our kids back and forth to different activities, and you've got jobs and you have all these obligations and things, if you don't align with this, that's fine. But I don't think sitting down in front of Netflix and zoning out for the evening is a hobby. It's something that we do, but it's not something that nourishes the soul, the mind, and our hearts. And so I really love reading. I've rediscovered my joy for reading just a good old-fashioned mystery novel. I'm big into dystopian fiction, so I love reading. I just finished the Maze Runner series. I just read The Giver. Excellent book, by the way. And so, what lights you up? I also really love to crochet. I love needle felting. I love creating and crafting of all kinds. And so having hobbies, things that you can distract yourself from your everyday stresses and day-to-day work life is great, but something that you can pour your creativity into, I think is really important as well. Okay, something that's really important and often neglected this time of year, and I have an entire video. I'm going to see if I can find it. I think I did it a couple years ago where I talked about whether or not cold and flu season existed, or if we just lived in indulgent season where we were super stressed out, ate too much sugar, probably drank too much alcohol, and did all those things. Food. You are what you eat actually does kind of resonate and does exist. And so this time of year, what am I eating? My protein requirements go up this time of year. The temperatures are colder, so my protein and fat content in my food increases. I'm eating a lot of soups and broths. I'm, as I mentioned, protein. I'm consuming a lot of root vegetables. So things like beets, sweet potatoes, turnips, all those kinds of things. What else do I do? A lot of potatoes, because that's what my body does well with. Of course, work within what works for your body. I'm really dialing back on the grains and really focusing more on good quality protein and healthy, nutritious, nutrient-dense vegetables. I do eat some fruit this time of year, but not as much. So sugar content goes down. So really start thinking about, how we can nourish our bodies with really good food as well. If anything, just adding in a good quality soup with a homemade broth once a week can make a really big difference. Okay, friends, thank you so much for sticking with me. I know this was a longer video, but there's a lot of different things that I weave into my life that help me get through the colder months, especially when it's been so dark and so gray. I really wanted to touch on all these different facets, and I encourage you to do a little bit more research, or if you want me to do a longer video on just one of these components, drop a comment below and I can absolutely do that. So just to recap, we talked about 2 different types of light therapy, full spectrum light therapy and red light therapy, and the benefits that both have. We talked about exercise. We talked about if we could combine the exercise with time outdoors and time in nature specifically, we would get lots of tremendous health benefits from that. We talked about nourishing our bodies through eating really good quality seasonal food if you can. So what's a seasonal food in the winter months? These are our root storage crops. These are things like sweet potatoes and garlic and beets and turnips and potatoes and all of those things, as well as really good quality proteins and fats. Really important fat. Don't be afraid of fat, friends. I can do a whole video on that too as well. The whole 1980s campaign of low fat did not do our brain any service. Let's just say that. We also talked about nourishing our hearts and our minds and our soul through things like meditation, journaling, and really investing in some hobbies. Now, doing all of these things is going to set yourself up for overwhelm and failure. So which one of the ones did I talk about in this video that lit you up the most, that you kind of went, hey, I could do that. That one seems like easy for me to incorporate. Start with that one and see the difference that it makes. And once that becomes a part of your daily, regular routine, think about adding in and weaving in another one. This has been years in the making of me really understanding what I need during these months and having all of these different tools and patterns become habit. If you have any questions, I'm here for it. Drop it in the comments. And until next time, this is Corinne from Spiraea Herbs, wishing you health, wellness, and a safe, vibrant, and happy winter season.